One of the biggest fears that first-time homebuyers have is that they're going to get into the house and they're going to have to pay for a lot of repairs that they're not prepared for, because leaving the rental market, they had the maintenance person to take care of everything, and so they never had to take care of repairs out of pocket. So now let's talk about how when you're buying a house, you can negotiate repairs so you're not surprised by any major expenses. I'm Shaheedah Hill, getting you over the hill to home ownership and helping you confidently buy your first home. So if you watch any of my videos, when you buy a house, you are going to make sure you get a professional home inspection. 100%. Do not buy a house without a professional home inspection. And when you get this inspection report, you are going to look at it, and different inspectors organize their inspection reports in different ways, but they should tell you on there if there's anything that is not working in the home, if there's anything that's hazardous, and if there's anything that is in need of repair. And it's going to be your job, more than likely, to estimate the cost of that repair. If they don't kind of give you they won't tell you an exact price because they don't want to quote you wrong, but they will tell you that this could be a major repair. So let's go over how I want you to look at this report and how I want you to negotiate with your realtor's help with the seller to try to get as many things done as possible. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week. So let's talk about things that are not working. So if something is not working, I want you to find out how much does it cost. So for example, if a stove is not working, and the stove is something that's going to be included in the purchase of your home, how much does it cost for you to get a new stove? You need to get that pricing so you can negotiate with the seller. But things that are not working, you want to make sure that you know the price to fix it or to replace it so you can negotiate that replacement or a credit with the seller. Hazardous items, number 2. So a lot of times in older homes and maybe newer homes, hazardous items may occur. They could be minor, like the smoke detector is not working. That's not an expensive repair. That's not a major repair, but you want to look at anything that they have deemed as hazardous or dangerous in your home. It could be electric, wiring, that sort of thing. You want to look at that, and again, you're going to get estimates to see, okay, how much would that cost me to repair something that's hazardous? And I'm doing this, a home inspector is going to know a lot of things. They're maybe note cosmetic things, minor, like handyman repairs. I want you to really be focused in on these major things that are going to cost a lot of money. And you can overlook, maybe, especially in a seller's market, you may have to overlook some of the minor, like handyman things, but you don't want to overlook any of these major things, the not working, the hazardous, and the expensive to repair. So let's talk about our expensive to repair list. Our expensive to repair list can be things related to the heating or the air. That's your HVAC. Anything related to plumbing, electric, your roof, your foundation, and your water heater. Those are generally the major items in your home that would cost a lot if you had to either repair them or replace them. Okay, and I'm going to give you some tips of things sellers try to do to get out of it that you shouldn't fall for. So let's talk about how you're going to negotiate some of these very expensive repairs. Number 1, you need to identify what the repair is. So what exactly is the inspector saying needs to be fixed? A lot of inspectors will tell you to go get a licensed HVAC technician, a licensed plumber, a licensed electric to get another opinion on the repair. And I definitely recommend that, because you don't want to just estimate yourself how much this is going to cost to repair. So if they're saying that one of these major systems needs to be fixed, a lot of times we walk away, my clients will walk away from foundation repairs because we know at the very beginning, or at least I know, those are expensive repairs and something that the average first-time home buyer does not want to deal with. But some of these other repairs, the heating, the air, the plumbing, the electric, we need to get quotes to know exactly how much would it cost to repair, or if it cannot be repaired, if it's in need of repair, maybe the repair wouldn't be sufficient and it's going to need to be replaced. So now we need to get a quote from one of these licensed professionals, because a home inspector is not going to quote exactly. They're just going to tell you it's not working. They might tell you what the problem is, but you need to get a licensed person in so they can quote how much it would cost them to fix it, or if it needs to be replaced. So if you have a short options period or short due diligence period and you've gotten your inspections, but you didn't have time to get the quotes, you're going to ask the seller to extend the options period or the due diligence period, giving you enough time to get these professionals and these licensed professionals to quote on their systems, be it the electrician or the roofer or the water heater, the plumber, to come in and give you a specific quote. Once they quote it, now you'll have a better idea. Is this a major expense, or is this something that maybe you can just get fixed after closing? Okay, so once they quote it, you'll be able to tell whether this is a major expense or something that you could get fixed yourself after closing. So we have our three things we're looking at. We're looking at things that don't work, we're looking at things that are hazardous, and things that are expensive to repair. Now, in negotiating with the seller, you're going to settle on 3 ways to take care of these expenses, these repairs. 1, you can have the seller repair the item before closing. If it's not too serious and you think that a licensed person can get it done in a reasonable amount of time, you may want the seller to take care of it before closing. And then you would make an amendment. And in that amendment, you would say, for example, seller to repair water heater, and be very specific about the repair. The seller to repair water heater before closing to maybe a certain temperature or whatever they need to do by a licensed plumber, and with a receipt for any work completed. So you have proof that they got it done by a licensed plumber. You have proof of the repair. Sometimes those repairs are under warranty. So now you make sure that it's going to get done and get done correctly. Okay, that's one way to negotiate the repair to be complete. And then before your walkthrough, you will go back to the house and make sure the repair was taken care of. Sometimes you'll be able to tell yourself that the repair has been taken care of. Sometimes you may have to have either the home inspector or another plumber come back and check the work. Either way, you want to make sure that it was done correctly before you close, because after you close, it's much more difficult to get things done. Number 2, you can get a credit for the repair and hire your own people to do it. Now, this really depends on your loan type and how serious the repair is, because some repairs, for example, FHA may have that need to be done before you can close. But if you have something that can be done after closing, you can get a credit for the repair. I like this option because it allows my sellers to get it done with whoever they want to get it done with and make sure it's done correctly. But you still want to get your quotes, because if you don't know how much it costs, you don't want it to get too little for that repair. And sometimes you can negotiate. Maybe you don't get the full credit for the repair depending on what's happening with your contract. You may negotiate a portion of it. And again, in a seller's market, you may have to negotiate more than in a buyer's market. But I like to get the credit for the repair, and you can hire your own people to do it after closing. Don't hire your own people to do it before closing, because you don't own the house. You want your own people to do it after closing, and just make sure you have enough money from the seller to get it done. So you'll get a credit for that repair. And that credit could be for your closing costs. So say, for example, the seller wasn't paying any of your closing costs, and you have a $3,000 repair, and you were going to come to closing with $5,000. If the seller gives you a $3,000 credit, now you only have to come to closing with $2,000, and you use that $3,000 to get the repair done. So a credit for the repair is ideal, and it's usually a lot easier that way. Number 3 is get the seller to pay your contractor out of the seller proceeds at closing. So you would do this example. Say the seller doesn't have the money to fix the repair. on their own before closing. Maybe they need the money from the home sale to get the things done. So in this way, you would use your quote, and then the seller at closing, that money would come out of their proceeds. So say you got a quote for the plumbing and it's for, a specific company and that sort of thing. At closing, the closing attorney will write a check out to your contractor for the amount that you and the seller agreed to, so you can get that repair done after closing. So those would be like 3 options that you can use if you've done it. For those of you that have closed, or if you have a repair and you're under negotiations now, you can put a question or some comments down below. But these are some options, so you make sure you are not getting into a situation in a home and you don't know exactly what you're getting into. And I said that I was going to give you a few more tips. One is, sometimes in your home inspection report, they're going to put that it's the end of life. So for example, the water heater is working, but it's at its end of life, meaning the typical water heater may last for 12 years, and this water heater in this home is 10 years old. And that home inspector is telling you, like, any minute, this water heater may or may not go out. And you have to prepare your mind to know, and that's what you need to do in your research, how much would it cost you to replace this water heater? Same thing with heating and air systems. Maybe the heating and air system is working now, but they're saying that they've already had it for a certain amount of time. A heating and air system will last for a certain amount of time. It's at its end of life. You don't want to get to a situation where everything in the house is at its end of life, and what you have to put in your mind is, have you budgeted enough money to replace these systems in the next 2 to 3 years? If you haven't, then that's another negotiation you can have with the seller to perhaps get a higher credit, maybe get some more money off the house, so you can put more money aside. For example, I had a closing where the HVAC was at its end of life, and so we got a $6,000 credit to my client's closing costs. And so instead of her bringing that to closing, she had that $6,000 to put aside if that HVAC system was to go out in the very near future. So, and they agreed to that, and it didn't need to be replaced because it was still working. It's probably still working right now, but she wanted to be prepared as a first-time home buyer, not to have to pay out of pocket after she paid all her closing costs, her down payment, to go ahead and replace the HVAC system. So be mindful, if you're buying a house where a lot of the systems are at its end of life, you want to either walk away from that deal because you're not going to have that amount in savings, or you want to try to get some credits or maybe some replacements possibly. It's very difficult to get a seller sometimes to replace something that is still working, it's just old. So that's number 1. Number 2, you'll find some sellers and some sellers agents, listing agents, that will try to give you a home warranty in lieu of repairing some things or in lieu of replacement. Now, the problem with this is, even if you have a home warranty, if it wasn't working ahead of time, a lot of times the home warranty companies don't cover the repair or the replacement. Sometimes they'll ask for the inspection report. There's a lot of ways that they'll get out of doing that repair or replacement. So you really want to see what that warranty covers to make sure you will be covered. For the most part, home warranties do not cover, if something is like broken or very old, they're not going to cover for it to be replaced. They just don't work like that, because if they had to replace everything that was old, they wouldn't make any money. So you want to make sure that they're not giving you a home warranty in lieu of the repair. You want them to repair and give you a home warranty in that case. You don't want them to give you a home warranty and say, oh, the warranty will cover it after you close and then you can get it fixed. Don't fall for that. So I hope this was helpful to give you some idea of what you're getting into if you have a home that needs some repairs, like a resale home that needs some repairs, that you find out on the home inspection. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. Please like and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week.